You could be walking around right now, feeling completely normal, while something dangerous is quietly building inside your chest. No pain, no warning, nothing obvious. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Heart disease doesn't begin with a dramatic moment. It starts silently, slowly, almost invisibly. From conditions you can easily reverse, to ones that can end a life in seconds. This is how heart disease really progresses. And here's the scary part. Most people don't realize anything is wrong until it's already too late. Heart disease isn't just one thing. It's not just heart attacks. It's an umbrella term that covers multiple problems affecting how your heart works, how it pumps, how it beats, and how blood flows through it. And globally, it's still the number one cause of death. Not because it strikes suddenly, but because it develops quietly over years. In this video, you're going to see the full progression, from mild, almost harmless conditions to life-threatening emergencies. You'll understand what's actually happening inside your body at each stage, the early signs most people ignore, and which conditions you can control, versus the ones that take control of you. So let's start at the very beginning, where heart disease usually hides. It often begins with something that feels completely normal. High blood pressure. You don't feel it. You don't notice it. But inside your body, your arteries are under constant stress. Imagine water flowing through a hose, but the pressure is turned up too high, all the time. Slowly, the walls of that hose start to weaken. They stiffen. They lose flexibility. That's exactly what's happening inside your arteries. And the most dangerous part? You could live with this for years without a single symptom. Stress, too much salt, being overweight, genetics. It all adds up. On the outside, life feels normal. But inside, damage is already underway. Even without symptoms, this pressure quietly damages your arteries. And that's where the next problem begins. High cholesterol. Now imagine tiny, sticky particles of fat moving through your bloodstream. Over time, they start clinging to the inner walls of your arteries, layer by layer, slowly building up like grime inside a pipe. You don't feel it. There's no pain. But that buildup is real. Diet plays a huge role here. Lack of movement makes it worse. And genetics? They can accelerate everything. You feel fine. But inside, your arteries are slowly narrowing. And over time, this buildup turns into something more dangerous. Early atherosclerosis. This is when those fatty deposits, called plaques, start hardening and narrowing your arteries. Blood flow begins to get restricted. Not enough to cause obvious symptoms yet, but enough to matter. Think of it like traffic starting to build on a highway. Cars are still moving, but slower, less efficiently. And this is where things start to shift. You're still living your life, still feeling okay, but the foundation for serious heart disease is already being laid. This is where things start to change. The condition progresses into something more noticeable, coronary artery disease. Now the arteries that supply your heart itself are affected. Blood, and more importantly, oxygen, struggles to reach your heart muscle. You might start noticing small changes, getting tired more easily, feeling short of breath after climbing stairs. Maybe a slight discomfort in your chest that you brush off. It's just stress, you tell yourself. But most people don't realize. This is your heart asking for help. Smoking, diabetes, lack of exercise, they all increase the risk. And at this stage, the problem is no longer silent. But it doesn't stop there. Because the issue isn't just blood flow, it's also how your heart beats. Arrhythmias begin to appear. Your heart's electrical system starts misfiring. Sometimes it beats too fast, sometimes too slow, sometimes completely irregular. It might feel like your heart is skipping beats or fluttering in your chest. You might feel dizzy, lightheaded, maybe even faint. And here's the unpredictable part. Some arrhythmias are harmless, but others can quickly become life-threatening, especially if the heart has already been damaged. Now imagine the structure of your heart itself starting to fail. Heart valve disease enters the picture. The valves in your heart, designed to keep blood flowing in the right direction, start malfunctioning. They might not open fully, or they might not close properly, so blood starts leaking backward, or moving inefficiently. Your heart has to work harder to compensate, and you begin to feel it. Fatigue becomes constant. Breathing feels heavier. You might notice swelling in your legs or feet. Daily life starts to feel different, slower, more exhausting. At this stage, your heart is struggling, but next, it starts sending clearer warning signals. Angina, chest pain. This is your heart telling you it's not getting enough oxygen. It might feel like pressure, tightness, burning. Sometimes it spreads to your arm, your jaw, your back. It often shows up during stress or physical effort and fades when you rest. That's the key detail. It's not random, it's a warning. And here's the part most people ignore. They wait for it to get worse before taking it seriously. Ignore this, and the heart begins to weaken. Heart failure sets in. Now your heart can't pump blood efficiently. Blood starts backing up. Fluid builds up in your lungs, in your legs, in your body. Breathing becomes difficult, even when you're not moving. Simple tasks like walking across a room feel exhausting. You feel constantly tired, drained. And this isn't temporary. This is a chronic condition that changes how you live every day. Now the heart muscle itself starts to change. Cardiomyopathy. The muscle becomes enlarged, or thickened, or stiff. It loses its ability to pump effectively. This can be caused by genetics, infections, alcohol, or long-term damage from earlier stages. You might feel your heart racing, skipping beats. You might feel swelling, weakness. And here's where things get serious. This condition can lead to sudden death, even in people who didn't realize how advanced things had become. And this is where everything can turn deadly. Fast. A heart attack. Blood flow to part of your heart is completely blocked. The muscle starts dying, not slowly, minute by minute. You feel intense chest pain, crushing pressure, sweating, nausea, panic. It feels sudden. But the truth is, this moment was years in the making. All those earlier stages, they led here. But a heart attack isn't the most dangerous event, because there's something even more immediate: cardiac arrest. This isn't about blocked blood flow. This is your heart's electrical system completely shutting down. The heart stops beating. No blood, no oxygen. You collapse, lose consciousness, and without immediate intervention, death happens within minutes. No warning, no buildup in that moment, just instant failure. And sometimes, the heart reaches a point where it can't recover. End-stage heart failure. The final stage. Your heart can no longer support your body. Organs begin to fail. Breathing is difficult even at rest. Energy is almost non-existent. At this point, survival depends on advanced treatments, like mechanical support or a transplant. Daily life becomes completely dependent on medical care. Now here's something most people get wrong. They think a heart attack and cardiac arrest are the same thing. They're not. A heart attack is a plumbing problem, a blockage in the arteries. Blood can't reach the heart muscle. But cardiac arrest? That's an electrical problem. The system that controls your heartbeat shuts down. One can lead to the other, but they're very different. Same idea with blocked arteries versus a weak heart muscle. Blocked arteries are about blood flow, like clogged pipes. But a weak heart muscle? That's a pumping problem. Even if blood can flow, the heart can't push it effectively. And this is where things change, because both can exist together, making the situation even more dangerous. Now pause for a second, because your body usually gives you warning signs long before anything becomes fatal. Early signs people ignore: mild chest discomfort, feeling more tired than usual, shortness of breath during simple activities, an irregular heartbeat that you brush off. These are not random, they're signals. But when it becomes an emergency, the signs are impossible to ignore. Crushing chest pain, pain spreading to your arm or jaw, sudden collapse, severe difficulty breathing. This is when every second matters. Here's the truth: heart disease doesn't suddenly appear. It builds. Slowly, quietly, over time. Which means you have more control than you think. Prevention isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. What you eat matters. Foods high in processed fats and sugar accelerate damage. But simple choices, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, can actually slow or even reverse early stages. Movement matters too. You don't need extreme workouts. Even walking, cycling, swimming, or light strength training regularly can strengthen your heart. Stress is another hidden factor. Constant stress keeps your body in a high pressure state, literally increasing blood pressure and damaging your arteries. Something as simple as taking time to relax, breathe, or disconnect can make a difference. And sleep. This is where your body repairs itself. Poor sleep keeps your heart under strain. Quality sleep helps regulate everything from blood pressure to hormones. Small habits, repeated daily, that's what shapes your heart's future. Because here's the reality: heart disease doesn't start deadly, it becomes deadly. And the earlier you recognize it, the more power you have to change it. Your heart is working for you every second of your life, every beat, every moment, without asking for anything in return. The question is, what are you doing daily that decides how long it keeps going? And if this made you see your health differently, even a little, then stay aware, stay informed, because your future self is built on the choices you make right now.